Hey guys, we're going to be covering What If Jazz Killed Bonecrusher Part 2. This is your favorite Dinobot here, and let's begin. Last time we left off, Jazz pretty much aided the Autobots, killed Blackout, and Starscream was forced to retreat. But now we're going into Revenge of the Fallen, but Jazz is in as well. So consider this how I'm going to fix Revenge of the Fallen, and I'll be going into Dark of the Moon, a different version of Age of Extinction, and The Last Night with kind of my own twist to it, okay? So, Revenge of the Fallen definitely wasn't the best one because a lot of things were cut out, and honestly, Michael Bay just rushed and slapped just any character on it here. But we're going to change a lot of things. For starters, we're going to change the new Autobots that reappear on Earth and give those Autobots credit. So the Autobots that are going to appear are Sideswipe and Jolt, just like in the original. I do like the fact that Jolt was at least in Revenge of the Fallen. It was at least considered because he had this unique ability that nobody else had, which was electrokinesis. And Sideswipe, come on now, we got to have it. Next up, we're going to add Evac from Transformers: The Ride. Simply because there's no reason why he shouldn't have been in the Bayverse in the first place. That character had some hard work put into him, and I think he would be perfect here. And last but not least, Breakaway. Having at least one aerial bot in the Autobots arsenal would have been actually astronomical. Okay? So these four Autobots we're going to be pretty much keeping there. And no, we're not going to add the RC triplets because they really didn't serve a purpose in the movies. But I'll see what I can do for the next part, okay? So now we have What If Jazz was in Revenge of the Fallen, along with these other Autobots. So you got to remember, he is Optimus Prime's second in command. His first lieutenant, as a matter of fact. Highest ranking position. So this changes a lot here. And let's start off with the simple change. The Demolisher fight. Now instead of Ironhide pulling up by himself, Jazz and Ironhide would have pulled up, and they would have had Sideswipe and Jolt along with them. The reason why is because Demolisher is just a, is a very big Decepticon. Okay, there's no reason why Ironhide should have even went by himself. The dude was ginormous, and they needed Optimus Prime eventually, and they barely had anybody there that could really combat him. So let's have a team of Autobots really sent to make that feel that Demolisher has that work. So we would have Jazz, Sideswipe, and Jolt, along with Ironhide, pull it from different angles. Jolt and Sideswipe go from one end, Ironhide and Jazz go from another end. Demolisher would transform like he does in original, and the fight would begin here. Except one thing. The Autobots have him surrounded in all corners here, and they begin opening fire on Jazz's command here, along with the numerous Nest forces. However, this is where I would have another scene. And that would be Sideways. Chase scene would be changed here. Sideways would break for it as soon as Demolisher begins moving his parts here. This means that Nest forces wouldn't be able to catch him in time and immediately have to call in Evac. So Evac would actually be hounding Sideways here. A chase would ensue, and they would be both, giving their all. Maybe they break out into a little bit of a fight here, and Sideways winds up still escaping. We'll have Evac win the fight, but Sideways still winds up escaping by using an uppercut. Yeah, let's say that. An uppercut that sends him through a building to basically tumble through the building, and then he just transforms and just goes off. So this is when we actually get to see where Sideswipe disables Demolisher's first will. He disables Demolisher's first will, and then Jolt actually restrains Demolisher and starts electrocuting him by his arms here. Now this is important because Demolisher only has one tire now he can go on, meaning that his travel speed is pretty much diminished at this point. Plus, we do get a good scene from Jolt here, pretty much restraining a huge Decepticon and electrocuting him, okay? So, yeah, that means Demolisher is getting away a lot slower than the original, and they wouldn't need Optimus Prime. I would actually have Jazz speed after him, and then would speed past him. Jazz would then transform and land on him like he did Brawl here. This pretty much trying to, kick his face in, and while Demolisher tries to reach for him, Jazz decides to pull out his crescent cannon and begins to bombard him. Okay, he begins to bombard Demolisher's face with all this ammo, causing him to pretty much steer off course, and he just misses the bridge. So yeah, the damage here is actually reduced because of Jazz's quick thinking and his quick tactics, and plus his gun's fire speed is a lot faster than the rest of the other Autobots. Now, Sideways actually gets away. Now, what happens to Sideways here, right? I would have Sideways meet up with Barricade in Abandoned Building. The reason why I would have Barricade is because he was actually meant to be in Revenge of the Fallen and was supposed to have a fight scene against Bumblebee again. So again, Barricade was most definitely confirmed for Revenge of the Fallen. It was meant to basically come back here. Now the Constructicon story, we're going to give them a lot more. We're going to give a lot more screen time to Constructicons as well. And we're going to make them a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? We're going to make them a lot more valuable, okay? So the first time we see, like, just a few Constructicons is when Ravage does his whole smash and grab of the Allspark Shard, okay? So what's going to happen here is Ravage does his, Soundwave sends Ravage like in the original, okay? So he sends Ravage, and I think the only, the only best thing here is that Ravage just does the same thing like in the original. He jumps over the fence. He, pours little, the orb droid or the marble droid or whatever down the pipe. And we actually get to see the two Constructicons, Scrap Metal and Buckethead, covering Ravage as they pretty much fend off the military. This means the Constructicons are a lot more prominent, and the Constructicons are just a much bigger threat, like in the original. They're just a much bigger threat, And then everything goes the same. The revival of Megatron happens, and he goes to talk with the Fallen. However, some slight changes happen during this scene here. Now, remember when Optimus Prime pretty much just shows up, fights Megatron and Starscream, with Bumblebee doing very little, but just get the humans out of there? So yeah, so we're going to throw in Jazz during that scene. And we actually get to see Jazz be the one to launch Starscream out with a drop kick, pretty much launching Starscream out of the building here. So, yeah, that pretty much, yeah, that would be the only thing that really changes about that scene here. We have Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, and Jazz in the building. We would have all three of these guys fight against Starscream and Megatron, and these guys would basically, these guys would basically just, they would win that fight. There's really no if, and, or buts about it. But now we head to the force fight. Megatron would tackle Optimus and, like in the original, call for reinforcements. However, if you guys remember, Bumblebee went to go get reinforcements. So what happens to Jazz? Jazz actually participates in the fight with Optimus Prime, Megatron, Starscream, and Blackout. Again, Grinder was not a part of that movie. It was definitely Blackout, okay? So Optimus Prime and Jazz basically tag team all these Decepticons. They tag team this 3v1. And remember, Megatron's fighting style is actually affected by his new body. He's not used to it. So he's actually on the back burner here. This gives time for Breakaway to show up. And this is when I would have had an epic dogfight between him and Starscream. If you guys don't know, Breakaway is actually a lot faster than, Starscream. Like, just astronomically faster than him. That's when I would have Breakaway transform and snipe Starscream in the thruster, grounding him, taking him out of that fight for a little while. Jazz would then take out his bladed javelin, like I said in the previous one, and then he would slice off Grinder's leg, or Blackout. He would slice out Blackout's leg, and then shoot him right in the face with his crescent cannon, showing he's learned from the last encounter they had, so that the fight wasn't so difficult. However, this doesn't go completely as planned. Optimus turns his back like in the original, looking for Sam, and then boom, here comes good old-fashioned Megatron with the backstab. Yeah, Megatron with the backstab. Come on, y'all know it was coming. But this one, he tells Jazz and Breakaway to get Sam out of there, and immediately, without a moment's hesitation, without a second thought, they do it. Jazz leaps at Sam, grabs him, transforms, and Breakaway follows suit, transforming and getting out of there. the Autobots come by and do fend off Megatron for a little bit as Jazz passes Sam on to Bumblebee. Now, Bumblebee will go on his adventure in the original, but instead of Skids and Mudflap, we're going to throw in Evac. Evac would be basically like a much more soldier, you know, kind of like a rookie Autobot, kind of learning the ropes of the planet, and he thinks he could learn it from Bumblebee, you know? So he kind of just goes with Bumblebee as like a mentor part. While Jazz goes back to the military base, and he's keeping the Autobots in check, making sure they don't shoot any humans here. And this is when we get a small acknowledgement by Ratchet and Jolt asking Jazz what they should do. And Jazz says he is considering on leaving the planet, but right now they need to trust in Sam in order to revive Optimus. So then we get the desert battle. All right, we're just going to fast forward to that part. Bumblebee and Evac go on that adventure, you know, with Jetfire and everything. They find the Matrix of Leadership. Now we're at the desert battle, right? Jazz would be coordinating the Autobots so well that the Decepticons don't even get to pressure the Autobots like they did in the original. Okay? So they pretty much pressure them like there's like no pressure. Okay? But here's the thing. Remember when Sam was running through like a whole city of Decepticons and he only had Bumblebee? Yeah. So this is when I would have Jazz be contacted by Breakaway, who's in the sky at this time, by the way, and he sees a whole city full of Decepticons looking for Sam. So this is when Jazz sends him, Evac, and Sideswipe to go help Bumblebee. Excuse me. And we all get them like in their own fight sequences, pretty much taking on like Constructicon clones. Okay, we each get some good fight sequences with them, and they pretty much, you know, win those fights either mid-diff or high-diff, okay? We keep Bumblebee's Rampage fight, or Skipjack fight the same. I don't remember which one it was. But now we got another problem. No Skids and Mudflap, no Bumblebee and Evac there. We got to talk about Devastator. Devastator, I'm going to have survived this entire movie. No railgun, because that was stupid. Let's be real. The railgun was pretty stupid in the movie. And he would have, you know, no problem getting to the Star Harvester and then going to join the battlefield. However, Megatron witnesses something once Devastator's on the battlefield. Devastator's actually being overwhelmed this time. He's actually struggling against 3 Autobots. And Megatron's wondering, like, okay, how are you doing this? How is this possible? The Autobots he's struggling against are Jazz, Jolt, and Ironhide. Yeah, they put in that work while Ratchet codes some drones here. Megatron, seeing this, shoots at them, causing them to dodge. This then pretty much has Megatron come down and join the battlefield, and at this time, Optimus Prime will be revived. Okay? Optimus Prime will be revived, and the Fallen would claim the Matrix like in the original. However, let's talk about this fight real quick. This is before, you know, Jolt is called to do these parts, right? So I would have the following. Jolt disables Megatron's cannon by latching onto him, right? And he discharges it and uses his electro configuration or his electro transformation, right, to dismantle Megatron's gun, making it basically his entire arm useless. Jolt then hears a call from Ratchet, and then Jolt asks if the others are going to be okay, and Ironhide and Jazz say they got this. This is when a one-armed Megatron is now facing Ironhide and Jazz, 2 characters that can fight Optimus Prime on their own. Jazz, using his crescent cannon, is able to shoot Megatron in the same way that Optimus Prime did in the movie, and Ironhide blasts him to smithereens, sending him flying through the battlefield, damaging Megatron, showing that these 2 Autobots are a lot more powerful. This is when the Constructicons simply deform, transform, grab Megatron, and leave. And then Optimus Prime versus the Fallen happens like it originally does in the movie. I mean, it actually happens a lot quicker if you think about it. Without Megatron's interference, he would retreat along with Starscream and the Constructicons, and everything pretty much goes the same. So in all honesty, having Jazz here in Revenge of the Fallen actually makes the movie a lot better. The Autobots are a lot more organized and a lot more prepared to deal with a Decepticon army because, again, Ironhide's not the best strategist, but he did do his best in leading the Autobot group here. It's just that Jazz is the first lieutenant for a reason. He's got to have those strategies down, otherwise his team's going to be ruined. And I actually think that's one of the reasons why he became first lieutenant in the first place. But anyway, this is your favorite Dinobot, and I'll see you guys later.